with that, we'll jump into our reviews this week. So two very polar different movies this week. We have Joyride and Insidious. We'll start with Joyride. Cam, I'll start with you because I think me and Cam are the only ones who saw Joyride. And then Seth and George are the only two that saw Insidious, so it works out pretty nicely. So Cam, starting with you,
split Joyride. This week. Yeah, Joyride. So this week I watched Joyride as well as Paris, Texas. So two movies that deal with Eiffel Towers, but don't really.
Nice.
Come on, Tyler. If you've seen Joyride, that's a good joke.
Yeah.
Interesting movie, very funny. I think I gave it a 3.5 for like a 72 out of 100. Really made me laugh. Like, I'll give it 75% of the jokes hit. So maybe my score is just like how many jokes hit. And I think that's like, I think you said Tyler, you said the other day, if like a comedy nowadays, like half the jokes hit, that's a win at this point. Because honestly, in any comedy, like 2000s comedy now, whatever you want to call it, if half the jokes hit or if 70% of the jokes hit, like that's a good comedy, I think. And because not everything's going to be great. It's a fun, like entertaining watch. I think it's very easy to sit down and just turn on, which I think a lot of people enjoy most of the time. Not really like anything crazy to spoil in this movie. I mean, it's a comedy about like four women who are in China and basically just are on. It's basically a bridesmaids hangover type comedy of a woman trying to meet her paternal mother. I don't really know like what else to say other than getting into like some of the funny moments. But Tyler, you can give your non-spoiler thoughts now.
Did you say what you rated it?
Yeah, 72 out of 100. So it's like my 7th highest rated movie of the year. So great.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
top 10.
Yeah, anyone who follows me on Twitter knows that like a couple months ago I was saying like from the trailers I was like this could be like a 0.5 out of 5 for me. Like the trailers just were not doing it for me. Like the type of comedy, I don't know. Like for some about the trailers just really rubbed me the wrong way, and I just did not think I was gonna like this at all. And then I saw it a couple weeks ago and I ended up really, really liking it. I gave it a 3.5 stars. I think it was really funny. Cam said about 75% of the jokes hit. I'd say for me it was like 50%, which like Cam mentioned, like I think that's like that's a win if you can get like 50%, especially in like a pure comedy where jokes are being rattled off, multiple times a minute in some instances. So if like half of them are landing, that's huge. So I really enjoyed it. Really raunchy, way raunchier than I expected. I think the trailer showed a lot of like the big gags in terms of the comedy, like the big cornerstones of the funny moments. But I think the funniest parts for me were kind of just like the subtle one-off jokes that were just like the standard dialogue throughout the movie. But yeah, we can jump into spoilers quick just because there's like you said, there's nothing really to spoil because it's kind of like it's like in The Hangover, it's like saying it's a spoiler of like, oh, they find Doug in the end. It's like, okay, well, we knew they weren't just gonna like kill off their friend, like you knew they were gonna find Doug. But spoiling some of like the funny moments because there's like at least one I for sure want to talk to you about. So skip ahead if you don't want to be spoiled from Joyride, but I think Cam and I both agree it's very funny. The cast had a lot of great chemistry. Super raunchy. Like there's kind of like a renaissance of raunchy comedies right now with Joyride and No Hard Feelings. The Blackening wasn't really raunchy, but just kind of pure comedies are just kind of winning so far this summer. So this was a good one. And right now we'll kind of jump into kind of talking about more specifics about the movie. So obviously the one I for sure wanted to like talk to you about was the Stephanie Sue moment.
Like where it's just her. They just okay. So they make it's a running joke the entire movie that she has a tattoo on her vagina, and she basically like says at one point, yes, I may have gotten like ink at one point like on the inner thigh, and it's like a small star or something, and then later it's revealed that it's like a fucking devil in the mouth is the vagina, and it's like that did make me laugh. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty like stupid comedy. I don't know if every time it'll make me laugh, but the one time, like for the shock value, it did make me laugh. Just kind of came out of nowhere, if I'm being honest with you. I really didn't think like they'd whip it out, but
right, because like it was from a moment in the trailer that everyone saw in the trailer where it was like they did like the whole like, oh, we're a K-pop band, like trying to act like they were a K-pop band to get on the plane.
I must have forgot about it.
Well, like we didn't see that part in the trailer, but I'm saying like the K-pop in the trailer, like it was like at the end of that sequence where they're like singing a song to try and prove to like the Chinese version of the TSA that they're a K-pop band, so they don't need their passports. They lose their passports early in the movie. And yeah, then they just like, obviously it was like prosthetic or a body double or fake or something, but yeah, it's just full on, just like in your face frontal nudity
it's just
of
like
just like a massive devil tattoo on Stephanie Sue's vagina, basically. And it was just wild. Like I was watching this, like it was a packed theater for me because I was at an early screening, and it was a raunchy movie the whole time. Like there was that whole scene earlier with like the Chinese basketball team where they're all like, each individual one of them are trying to hook up with them. So it was already like a super raunchy movie at that point. But then to go that far, I was like, that was a shock value to me. I was like, I did not think they were going to take it that far.
I think this is one of the best Letterboxd reviews I've ever had, and it's not every day you watch softcore double penetration on your screen. Like that's like it was kind of wild, like some of the scenes, man. Yeah, it's one of those where like if you don't find it funny, you're not gonna laugh once during this movie, and because they're all just kind of leaning onto the raunchy comedy bit. But I found it funny. I enjoyed it. I think it's got, it's like I say a lot of times, it's just guys being dudes. It's just girls being gals. It's just good quality comedy. It was in the trailer, but the funniest joke I swear I've heard in years in like a comedy, and it made me laugh so much, is when they're talking about like the bag of Coke that's up Stephanie Sue's ass, and they're like, pull it, push it, twist or whatever, and she's like, it's not a bop it, it's my asshole. That really. It was in the trailer. It made me laugh then. It made me hysterically laugh when I was watching it. Like I don't know why that moment was very funny. Stephanie Sue's great. Put her in everything. She's by far the funniest part of this movie, I think. Funniest person.
I mean, I thought the whole cast had like a lot of good chemistry though, and I think they each had their own like, quirks that made them pretty funny. Baron Davis, hilarious, because like, so Bottom's coming out later this year. That was? Yeah, and he went by his real name, so it was like obviously Baron Davis.
I didn't connect the two.
So like later this year we have Bottoms coming out with Marshawn Lynch being in like a raunchy comedy, but now Joyride had Baron Davis, former NBA player, because basically they go to China and they meet up with a Chinese basketball team, and as most people know who follow like the NBA, like kind of once you're if you're either not good enough for the NBA or you are later in your career, you usually go overseas and play somewhere. So Baron Davis is playing over there with like a Chinese team, and he's like hooking up with one of the main girls. I can't remember what her name was, but yeah, what I really liked about this was it was like a pure comedy, but there was like a heartfelt story to it, because the whole thing that sets this Joyride in motion is that the main character in this movie, who is played by Ashley Park, I believe, she's adopted. Her best friend growing up is Sherry Cola, played by Sherry Cola. So Ashley Park's adopted, never has met her parents, but she knows she's from China. And then basically they're like, you should go try and find who your parents are. And there's a business trip. She's already going to China because she's going on a business trip. So like while she's there, her friend convinces her like, let's try and find your birth parents, see like where you came from, what your roots were. So the whole kind of point of this movie is like, she's on a business trip, but also they're trying to figure out like, find her birth mom and birth dad. And by the end of the movie, basically, she finds out we're already in spoilers at this point. She finds out her mom is not alive anymore. She passed away. She meets, it wasn't her birth dad, right? But it was like her birth mom's husband, or like widow, I guess now.
Yeah.
And there's like a really heartfelt moment there. And it's basically like a pure, so it's like 90 minutes. It's like a pure comedy for like the first 75 minutes. And the last 15 minutes, I think, do get pretty sentimental and emotional. And it's overall like a good, fun story. Like it's nothing that's going to like blow your socks off, but I don't think it's anything that'll be like offensively bad unless like you just really don't like the raunchy comedies. But the thing is, like, I feel like the entire 2000s and 2010s and honestly just like all of history has been like raunchy male comedies where it's like naked women and guys being dudes and having fun. And it's like, it's just kind of refreshing to see like kind of reverse where like a true woman raunchy comedy that I've personally never seen anything this extreme in terms of like a woman-led raunchy comedy, because there's like Cam said, it gets really extreme in some moments of how
like it's way more extreme than like Bridesmaids, which is hilarious. I love Bridesmaids, but the worst take of all time is from that Lights Camera Jackson guy when he dropped the Joyride is embarrassing, incredibly unpleasant, like most modern adult comedies. It's raunchy simply to be raunchy, forgetting there has to be humor attached, and there's none of that. Objectifies men, targets white people, all shock value, look at me attitude. Fuck you. Shut up, you loser. That's all I had to say.
Yeah.
I was gonna open my review with that, and I completely forgot. So I still wanted to, I was gonna open up and say that was my review, but I forgot. So just fuck that guy. But yeah, you're exactly right. It is refreshing to see that it's just the hangover. It really is just the hangover, in my opinion. Not as funny and more raunchy, but like it's the same idea. It's the same idea.
Yeah, it's
like
you're not gonna get many people on your side if you're like dogging on a movie for saying it's anti-man and anti-white people, because those are two two classes that have had more than enough of their limelight in cinema for the past 120 years. So if and honestly, like I mean, it's been like 3 weeks since I saw it. I didn't really get like, I don't know, like it's raunchy, but I never really felt like it was anti-man or anti-masculinity or anti-white people at all. So I don't really know where he got that from, but
I think it's just because they keep calling Ashley Park like a white American or something, like a white person, because she's adopted by like 2 white parents. I think that's like what what this guy was upset about.
Yeah, which, like, I don't know, like, I can't pinpoint another movie or time that's happened, but I feel like that's like this isn't the first time that's happened. I feel like whether it's like because they're adopted or whatever, like people have called people white even if they're not white just because like their way they've been brought up and their upbringing.
Shout out Roy from the Office.
Oh yeah, he's in
the Office right now.
Because he's in it for like what, like 10 minutes, because it was at the beginning basically.
He's the dad.
He's the dad. Yeah, nice to see him and stuff.
Yep.
So yeah,
that's all I got.
Yeah, I don't have anything else either. Fun movie. I think definitely go see it if you're in the mood for a comedy. I'm sure it'll be one that I think is going to have like a pretty big resurgence too once it goes on streaming. Like I feel like comedies in general aren't really something most people have run to the theaters to, especially in the last like 10 years. But once this goes on streaming, I think a lot of people will watch it and realize it's quite good. So 3.5 out of 5, 6.6 out of 10 for me, 72 out of 100 for Cam, which is a 4 out of 10 or 4 out of 5. Too many freaking numbers and scales, man. 3.5. Okay, 72 out of 100.
Same scale as you.
Just stop with these scales. Just do the 5-star rating.
No, I agree. 5 stars sucks. 5
Y'all
stars
out here 7.7 for a 3.5 stars.
Nope.
Just
give it a 3.5.
No, 5 stars sucks. 5 stars. Boo, boo.
Oh my god. What is that out of a million, Cam?
720,000.
720,000. I was going with the 7.7. My bad.
That'd be great.